Now, William O'Donoghue out of the Limerick Senior Hurling Championship Final, sponsored by the Bansigors Hospital. William, you're back in another county final. I suppose last year disappointing to miss out in the semi-final stage, but you've managed to get back to the decider. You must be looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the year, obviously getting to a county final is every team's goal. Like, obviously you have to break it into smaller chunks and deal with the group stages first, but I mean, the overarching kind of goal is obviously to be there on county final, and we've managed to secure that, and that's a huge positive.
If we can look back to the Liberties game, the scoreline will suggest you're completely dominant, but maybe things didn't hit the ground, as you would have liked in maybe the first 10-15 minutes. But once you got into your stride, you were maybe the Na Piarsaigh that people are very familiar with.
Yeah, but I mean, like that kind of not hitting the ground running. Like, I mean, they beat Patrickswell the week before. Like, they're a really good team. Like, at the end of the day, it was a county semi-final. Like, it was never going to be a runaway game. Like, you see all the knockout games pretty much since the county championship has gone into knockout stage. Like, it has been incredibly tight, incredibly competitive. Obviously had some poor wides at the start, but that was because they were putting good pressure on us too. Like, wasn't just down to poor execution by us. Like, they were putting on some really good pressure, some really good tackles, and like, it was 8-5 at half time, and I mean, that's story in itself of how close it was. Like,
yeah, so you mentioned competitive yourselves, and Kilmallock have certainly been competitive maybe in the last 10, 12, 13 years. At the business end of this championship, it was mentioned there, obviously 10 of the last 12 titles. You know each other also well. It's a good rivalry, a healthy rivalry, and it's one I'm sure that when you see Kilmallock that are your next opponents, no matter what the occasion, you must look forward to doing battle with them.
yeah, I mean, like, I think the championship is so competitive that, like, there's some great rivalries around because teams are so competitive, and I think rivalries kind of come on the back of teams being competitive and beating one another, and that's kind of why there's such good rivalries. I think within the Limerick Senior Championship, you have the likes of Kilmallock, Doon, Patrickswell, ourselves, and let's say you have a Han who we only drew with this year, you have a Dare, and you have teams like Kildimo coming up, and South Liberties who managed to get to a semi-final. So I mean, every single one of those games is turned into a rivalry because anyone could take down anyone on any given day. But county final day should be exciting, should be a great game, but like that, you could take any pairing out of about 8 teams and it would have made for a great county final.
You played Kilmallock in Doon in the group stages, a nice summer's evening. I know you're going to say no relevance, but it'll show you that these two sides are very well matched all over the pitch. I think it's fair to say, their full forward line on top for a couple of minutes, your full forward line, etc., and different areas of the pitch. It should make for a good game. Going to be completely different, I'm sure, but it should make for another competitive 60 minutes of hurling.
Yeah, like that night, I think if you actually look back on it, they probably should have won the game. Like, it was the finest of margins anyway. It was only a point. I mean, draw probably would have been a fair result, but if you look back at some of the wides they had, probably the game was probably there for them, so it has very little relevance. And like I said, you look at most of those group games, they were fairly competitive, not much splitting the sides, so it won't have much relevance, but I think it just it does feed into the fact that the two teams are very evenly matched, and that the neutrals and, let's say, Limerick GAA should have a good county final in their hands.
I think you're playing maybe adult hurling about 10, 11 seasons now.
2013 was my first year playing senior, yeah.
Yeah, so in those 10 seasons or so, how have things evolved, maybe tactically, physically, within your own setup, but maybe across the county? What do you think?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, with every year that goes by, a manager is trying to implement something new, and I mean, I've been really lucky with a lot of the setups that I've been involved in, that they've always been trying to do the right things. But I think you can see that in every team now. Like all the teams at the top table in Limerick, even intermediate premier stuff like that. They all have the gym work necessary. They all have fitness coaches. They all have brilliant hurling coaches. They're all looking at analysis, and everyone's nearly playing off the same hymn sheet and trying to implement the right things. But it's definitely progressed physically. I mean, if I saw a photo of myself back in 2012, 2013, it wouldn't be decent viewing. So it's definitely taken a new life physically anyway. Yeah.
Have you managed to peep over the wall into the Gaelic grounds, a new surface in there?
No, I haven't. No.
But I suppose you must be looking forward to getting back in there. County finals are special, no matter who the opposition, what the occasion. It's why you tag out for your club literally at any grade, whether it is junior B all the way up.
Yeah, and to be able to have that back in the Gaelic grounds is fantastic. The games that were kind of held in the smaller venues around the county the last few weeks and months were brilliant as well, because they were that bit more intimate, and you know, it was probably had a better atmosphere to it. But come county final day, I mean, you want to be inside in the Gaelic grounds. You want to be, you know, in the HQ battling out for